For many tradies out there, managing money can feel like an afterthought, something to do once the job is done. But without the right financial strategies, hard work doesn't always translate to long-term security. And today we're diving into how tradies can take control of their finances, pay off debt and build lasting wealth. Joining me in studio is Tony Harrington. It's good to have you with me. Why is financial education so key for tradesmen out there?
Well, pretty much, Mike, it's not so much just for tradesmen, it's for everyday mum and dads out there, because the majority of Australians just never get taught anything about how to manage money, how to build their wealth, or how to keep their money, grow their money and build their wealth. So predominantly most people just struggle along doing the same old strategy. I'll get a house, I'll have a mortgage, 30-year noose, with the bank.
Yeah, I've heard the story.
And, we just seen with interest rates going up 12, 13 times in the last year and a half, a lot of people are really struggling and getting caught out because they don't have the basics and the fundamentals in place.
110%, yeah, and I feel like you're right there. We've come a long way since the little bank thing they used to do in primary school where you get your little yellow packet and learn about that stuff. But what strategies can tradies use to pay off debt and reduce that stress that so many of them are working with day to day?
One of the challenges I see with tradies, and I've been in the building industry for near on 40 years. I started when I was 16 years old, right? And I worked the first 20 plus years of my life and blew every cent I had. So I've seen that side of the fence. And then I started to learn about money and finance and investing in property, and therefore I built and grew my wealth from there. But it all came from knowledge. So for any tradie that's out there, or any worker in particular, gaining financial knowledge and increasing their financial IQ is paramount to give them that little bit of self-confidence and that bit of self-belief to take those steps. But if we just draw it back, go, well, let's get the basics done first. How do you manage your day-to-day money? How do you manage your week-to-week cash flow? I surveyed the construction industry around 6 or 7 years ago.
What'd you find?
Right here in Melbourne. Mike, it was pretty tragic.
Yeah.
And I was on the big commercial sites where the guys are earning really big money, making, $2 grand, $3 grand a week take home. 62% of people were living week to week, payback to payback.
Goodness me, where's it all go?
Well, if you go and have a look at the car park, you'll find $150,000 utes. If you go into the backyard of most homes, you'll find a jet ski, you'll find like a boat, a motorbike, Harley Davidsons.
But they're all necessary spends if you're doing your numbers right.
They are in time, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if you use property as a way to leverage, you can leverage off later on in life. But what's the challenge we've got here today? Everybody wants everything now.
True.
And to be really honest, I don't think a lot of people think past, hey, what's happening this weekend?
Very, very true. We're in a much more quick to digest society these days. But how can property investing help tradies build that passive income with minimal risk? Because I know that's another thing that people look at and they go, God, what's my appetite for risk? Or they're not even aware what their appetite is.
Comes back to the simple fact that, again, most people don't do it because they haven't got the knowledge. So therefore they're worried about losing money, making a mistake, all legitimate fears too, right? And therefore they stop and they stay stuck. And the challenge that I see with working people in Australia is that they're all sitting there thinking, well, I might have 400 or 500,000 in super.
Great.
So it's pay off a house, have some super. But here's the challenge. Where's the control over super? Where's the control over stock markets, the economy, world events? Have a look what's going on with Trump right now.
At the moment, right?
Right. There's going to be a lot of volatility for the next 12 to 18 months. Trump's going to completely disrupt the planet and the financial system, and the actual financial system is going to get rewritten. So for the average person out there who wants to invest and use property as a way to leverage, there's ways that you can set it up and structure the loans. Your interest is tax deductible. Most of your costs and expenses are tax deductible. So a tradie making 150, 200,000 a year is paying a bucket load of tax, right?
Of course.
So let's get an investment property, reduce your tax, take a portion of that tax return, and my average tradie saves between $5,000 and $15,000 extra tax per year once they've got the right investment in place. They can take a portion of that, start paying off 10,000 lump sums off their own home, because your own home's non-deductible debt. So you can't claim anything against your home.
These are all the little tricks and tips that you miss out unless you're sort of amongst it and in it. And if you're too busy working and too exhausted at the end of a big day, how are you going to have the energy to engage with this sort of stuff? It took me a little while to engage with it as well, but thankfully I get to speak to folks like yourself. How's your journey from tradie to money coach shaped your insights into financial advice and financial assistance for construction workers out there?
It generated a passion for me, Mike.
Yeah.
I come from a big working class family where we were taught, go out, work hard.
Yep.
Look after your family, look after the kids, and nothing much more, right? And I got to a point in my life where I blew every cent I had. I worked on building sites for 20 years. I used to punt it. I used to gamble it.
Nice.
I used to do real silly stuff with it because I didn't know any better. Nobody had taught me or educated me. I started a personal development program. I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I had a look at it and I thought, gee, you can actually plan your life. You can actually do these sort of things.
Yeah.
Well, and then I found a smart finance guy who taught me some stuff. I got a smart tax accountant who showed me how the tax laws work, because I didn't have to be Eddie the expert. I needed to get the right people around me who could teach me and show me things that I didn't know.
Mentors, the experts, etc.
I paid a mentor $25,000 1 year
Yep.
to coach me on property and property investing. He had 75 properties, I had 3. So he knew a few things in life that I didn't know.
Yeah.
One strategy, and this is, I'm not trying to big note here, but I applied one strategy that he taught me and I got tenfold my money back in one property deal that I did.
Okay, so I can assume out there's a lot of tradies who might be perking up, listening, going, hey, maybe it's time to actually pay attention to this sort of stuff and not invest in the next Hilux, etc. But tell us a little bit about what we've got here and a little bit about where people can find out more about you.
Yeah, well, predominantly I used to go on building sites and do talks live to construction workers. I'm doing one this Friday with 600 tradies out there, and they get access to my coaching and my program. And what I like to do is I like to give the tradie a basic fundamental tradies wealth accelerator, access to my package.
That's that one there?
Yep. It's not a book you read. It's a book full of pictures and strategies and concepts, but you don't read it. I've shot video lessons that go with the book. So they get the book, they get the video lessons once a week, and if they just do that and apply the basics, there isn't a person that I've taken through that book that hasn't made anywhere between a minimum of $1,000 out of it, right through to 50 grand to 100 grand,
nice.
And then beyond with the investors. So for most mum and dads, let's get the basics down first. And most people don't have a goal or a strategy.
Correct.
How much money do I need to get to get to retirement?
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, if I need $1 million or $1.5 million, or maybe 2 now, then how do I get there? They don't have a plan, they don't have a strategy, they're winging it from week to week. So for me, the thing is to teach people a simple basic strategy on how they can get from A to B without taking too much risk. And the average mum and dad out there just needs to get 1 or 2 properties under their belt.
Yep.
Keep those properties for 10, 15, 20 years down the track.
Watch it expand.
Yeah, and I do the property research for all the clients. I find the deals, I package them up, I do all the demographic research because I'm in that space every day.
And you come from it as well.
Yeah, so I like to take away as much fear as I can and help the tradie just make the right choices and the right decisions that gets them on the path to where they want to go.
Empowering them, yeah.
Correct.
Tony, if people do want to find out more, connect with you and maybe learn a bit, where's the best place to go?
Well, they can get free access there to the Wealth Accelerator package. They can go to tradiesmm, that's M for mum, tradiesmm.com.au, fill in a couple of basic details and they'll be automatically emailed the package and they'll get some free coaching, and from there if they want to talk to me one-on-one we can do that down the track. But for the start, let's just get people started and get people on the right path.
Good on you, mate, and thanks for joining me in the studio.
My pleasure, Mike. It's been great. Thank you.